Welcome to my exhibition. I wanted to make something beautiful out of my love for philosophy and mythology. These are paintings and graphic works that cover the last 5 years. Part of the work I did in Rome. Some works are inspired by Western Sahara and Colombia, from my dreams and imagination. All of this I want to bring back to my community and offer as a gift to the public in Sevilla. My work is intuitive, chaotic, experimental. I approach art as a play and exploration, so the work is very diverse. I don't think I have a style or definitions. Usually I don't try to explain, just let the art speak by itself. In this show, the exhibition space has 3 floors, so I'm gonna take you through 3 chapters following the hero's journey: separation, initiation, and return. In separation, the protagonist is taken away from his everyday context, suddenly abducted to another dimension, taken to the underworld, and confronted with death. This is exactly how I have felt for many months now. We have been taken into a hell, woken up into a nightmare. I wonder what beauty or wisdom I can find underground. The soil of our Mother Earth is largely comprised of the transformed bodies of our relatives who have been dying for millions of years. Soil fertility is nothing but the extent to which the ground is saturated with our dead ancestors and relatives. Death, then, is a necessary part of life. In March 2020, when the COVID pandemic broke out, I was in Italy. I was a resident in the Spanish Academy in Rome, doing an artistic research into historical archetypes. The government imposed a general lockdown. It was the largest suppression of constitutional rights in the history of the Republic. Children at schools painted rainbow murals with the motto, Tutto andrà bene, everything will be all right. I've been always fascinated by the rainbow, by its intangible appearance. Is it really there? I thought that in the charming children's drawings something was missing: darkness. Writer and scientist Johann Wolfgang Goethe, in his theory of color, explains that every color is a degree of darkness, considering darkness not only as the absence of light, but as an energy in itself, as essential as light. The dark side is unrealized potential. Now, in the second floor, we find an actual war between light and darkness. The chapter of initiation is a road of trials. We, as the protagonists, go through challenges and dangers, overcome hardships and ordeals. We find duality, injustice, war, and disease. We've been taken into a dystopian world where myth and reality, fact and fiction, truth and lies have become undistinguishable. Here is a wall dedicated to Western Sahara. This collective mural was displayed and painted in the street in Sevilla as a way to call the public's attention to the war. This has coincided with the shameful turn given by the Spanish government to its policy towards Western Sahara, supporting Morocco's illegal policy of occupation. The Sahrawi representatives accused the Spanish president of dressing as humanitarian his turn of policy. Sociologist Boaventura de Sousa Santos considers human rights as an ambivalent construction. On one side, you have top-down hegemonic human rights, as in the case of Spain, or when the US invades a country to quote-unquote protect freedom and democracy. On the other hand, Sousa talks about down-up construction of subaltern human rights as the meaningful struggle for dignity. I'd like to mention Joaquín Herrera Flores. He was a law philosopher an activist from Sevilla who proposed a reinvention of the human rights. That reinvention had to be effected in three ways. First, the definition itself. What are the rights? Rights are processes to access the goods. The why of the rights, because the access to goods is unequal. And the what for of the rights, so that life is worth living. So he said human rights would be the process and the results, always provisory, of the social struggles for dignity. This critical perspective brings us to the subject of human rights and transhumanism, the moral and ethical dilemmas that the technological advances bring about. Transhumanism is literally the melding of our natural-born physical bodies with artificial intelligence. From the official point of view, they are selling us transhumanism as a beneficial evolution into super longevity, super intelligence, and super well-being. But fundamental changes always come with a downside. There is always a price to pay. Together with The Matrix or dystopian novels as 1984 or A Brave New World, I am thinking of another book. COVID-19, The Great Reset, is the manifesto co-authored by Klaus Schwab, the founder and president of the World Economic Forum. His main message is that from the arrival of COVID, everything must change forever, digitizing all aspects of life and work, the fusion of physical, digital, and biological. I think the great readjustment is not for the benefit of people, but for the benefit of techno-capitalism. Take, for example, Chile, the first country in adding neuro rights to their constitution. On February this year, the legislation approved prevents discrimination against mutant and genetically altered individuals. Here in Spain, the Minority Report Law, passed last year, it's called a data protection law, but it's actually a data collection law. This grants authorities the permit to preventively profile ethnicity, political opinions, biometric data, etc., in suspicion of an infraction not yet committed. Almost a pre-crime idea, as in Tom Cruise's science fiction film Minority Report. When you allow access to your brain, you will irreversibly and forever give up your sovereignty, your self-determination, and your free will. The third floor is called Return, where the hero arrives back home with a message to the community. It's usually a hopeful message, but we are in a very difficult situation. Now that life itself is under attack, it is more urgent than ever to reclaim our own power, to put our own life at the center. Einstein famously said that no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. Our task must be to wake up to our true nature. Our true nature is that we are consciousness, or the soul, or spirit. Let's say we are life itself, and life is immortal, and life is you. You are not your body, and you are not your brain or your mind. You are life itself. Only the body dies, you don't. No matter what anyone else is doing to you, no one can kill you. They can destroy your body and torture your mind, but they can't kill you, life. This is very important to remember in front of fear and terror. So the first thing to do to fight is to realize that you are an immortal soul, and no matter what they do to you, you, the real you, life will prevail. I'd like to finish with the words of an Egyptian activist in Tahrir Square. If we are optimistic, we don't have to wait for an utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of presents, and living now as we think human beings should live, faced with everything, is in itself a wonderful victory.